Hey everyone, it is Tanya and welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. And if you're watching this when it goes up, Merry Christmas or Merry Christmas Eve, depending on where you are in the world. Today I am building a winter family home that's decorated for the holidays. I wanted to just do something to celebrate the season since it's basically Christmas and that's the holiday that I celebrate, and I'm excited to just get into the spirit of things. So the idea here was I just wanted to create like a really cute house that would be for a decent sized family. This ends up being a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house coming in at 100,466 millions. So it's kind of expensive, but I wanted to go for an interesting roof line, and I looked at a bunch of different reference pictures and got that starting point and then just kind of made it my own from there. So it has a very unique shape and I really like how this came out. There's a lot of different roof pieces and a couple of different chimneys, and I just think it's a really cute build, so I hope you will like it. If you do and you'd like to download this, make sure you look me up on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my origin ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You can also find it under the hashtag Miss Gryphi, and that information will also be in the description down below as well. The outside of this is coming together pretty quickly, although I actually end up working on the exterior for a good portion of this video because I was having so much fun with it, and I had trouble starting on the inside because I was just so happy with the outside that I didn't want to ruin it. But I think the inside's cute as well. I just preferred the exterior on this home. I was just incredibly happy with like the facade of this house. It was just a really fun one. But here I am messing around with the roof pattern here. I end up going with this one, but in the white instead of in this gray. I would probably switch it to this gray during any other season, but the white made it look like it was covered in more snow than it actually is. And I do switch between like levels of snow and stuff outside where things are slightly covered and fully covered while I'm working on the exterior to play around with the landscaping. So you'll see that happen. I've also was very indecisive on the colors and textures I wanted on the outside of this build. So I skipped through a lot here, and in the end, I'm pretty sure most of it ends up being brick. We have a couple areas of paneling, but for a long time it ends up just being brick. So that should change here shortly. I was trying a bunch of different stones and like vertical paneling, and I couldn't decide what color I wanted this house to be, but here we are on the brick that we end up going with in the end. There just ends up being a couple of accents of a regular paneling as well. And out back, I wanted to have a little bit of a porch moment, so there was an access to the backyard. So that's what I'm creating here. I thought it was a pretty simple space that actually exits out from the living room. And then we're back on the front of the build, trying to add a little bit of greenery. It's obviously not green this time of year, but I thought it would be nice to have some plants growing up the side of the build. I think it looks really nice that way. And I'm using a combination of windows from a couple of different packs. I'm pretty sure the window upstairs on that dormer is from, I think that one's from the cottage living pack. The front door is from University, and then the windows I'm primarily using on the bottom level are from Snowy Escape. I also really wanted to have a couple of wreaths on the outside of this house as a decoration, and I really adore when I see houses that have a prominent chimney when they like hang up a wreath on the side of that. I've seen that a lot in the area I'm from, so I definitely wanted to do that. There's also one on the front door, and I'll be adding one a little bit later to that garage space that I created as well. And then I used this debug fence to create kind of a border around the front of the lot with that open gate where I imagined the driveway would be. And then I feel like this build just starts coming alive when I start placing down some of these trees. Just, oh my gosh, I love evergreen trees and how they look in the winter. It's just so pretty with a little bit of snow on them, and I just really like how this space is coming out. And then I had to adjust this fence a little bit because without drawing out those pathways that you can see now, it wasn't entirely lined up. As you can see, the snow is a little bit lighter here. I had let it melt a little bit so I could see a little bit better for placement. I don't think the plants are going to look perfect other times of year, but I love how they look in fall and winter. Some of the colors might be a little bit odd, but I really adored how this was looking, and I primarily wanted this to look good in the winter anyway. And I think fixing some landscaping shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, just placing down some more plants, a variety of different evergreens. I used a couple that I think are either base game or from Outdoor Retreat. And then the ones I just placed down are from Snowy Escape because they have a really cool texture to them. And then I also used these snow piles from Snowy Escape because they're just so cool. We don't have snow depth, like actual snow depth in The Sims 4 like we did in The Sims 3. So having like little piles around is really nice. And I know right now it doesn't look super realistic because you can blatantly see the edges of those piles. But as the snow collects on the ground a little bit later, you'll see those blend in really nicely. But these are some of the flower beds that I put around the house. I just wanted to make them nice and rounded, more organic shapes. So I'm using those little items from Debug. I also used some Debug planter boxes on the windows out front as well. I really like how they change with the seasons, so that was a nice addition. And then we got a mailbox hanging on the wall, and it felt like this section of the roof was a little bit too empty, so I put a window up there. But finally, 6 minutes into this voiceover almost, we are heading to the interior to try and figure out a floor plan, and I think it comes together pretty quickly. There were a couple of decisions that I changed my mind about, but I think it worked out nicely. This actually ends up, in addition to all those bedrooms and bathrooms, it does have a garage space, as you can see from the outside. I actually kept that as like a skill building garage area, so on the inside it looks like a garage. But you could definitely repurpose that to be whatever room you'd like it to be. It could be an office, it could be another bedroom. Can keep it as a skill building room, and here I am just placing down sort of placeholder furniture so I could figure out the layout of downstairs. So none of this is the furniture we're actually going to be using, and I also wanted to close off this space a little bit more and make it, you know, not so open plan. I didn't really imagine this house would be open plan on the inside, so I really wanted to get those separate rooms going. So just working on that now, and then figuring out the floor plan upstairs, which is a little bit wonky. I wasn't really sure what area was going to be the primary bedroom, where it was going to fit a bathroom, all of that. And it worked out really nicely in the end. But there's a huge bathroom upstairs, which is kind of nice because I don't often have really big bathrooms in my builds or much variety in bathrooms. I think I only showed the downstairs one in the footage because this was a really long build. But they're all decorated pretty similar, but there's different sizes. And so some of the placement is a little bit different, which is always a bit of fun, because I don't feel like I have too much variety in the bathrooms. I do want to work on that, and I feel like the only variety is when I do like a modern apartment, and so yeah. Anyway, this is the kitchen. At first, when I was planning out this room, when I was like placing down placeholder furniture, I was using a base game set, and I currently am as well, and that's what I end up going with in the end. But I did switch to this one, which is of the 2 traditional base game sets that we have for the kitchens. This one's my favorite. I think it's really pretty. I love this wood tone, and we have a nice tile backsplash from Parenthood, and just getting some curtains here, which are from Cats and Dogs, in this white and brown color. I end up using the whole like curtain set that match, that come in that swatch from that pack, throughout the entirety of this build, primarily on the first floor. I'm trying to think if I use them upstairs. I think it's just on the first floor, but I'm trying to make sure this kitchen looks very lived in. There's lots of items around, lots of food and storage, and I want it to look lived in but not messy. And I put a couple of decorations around on the interior of this build. I didn't want it to be like over the top. Obviously, the outside has a couple of wreaths, and I was imagining this was a holiday family home. I know last year I built like a tacky Christmas house, which was so fun. It was so over the top, ridiculously decorated. I wasn't going for that this year. I just wanted like a cute family home that has some holiday decorations out. So there ends up being like a couple of wreaths and garland around the house and a Christmas tree with a bunch of presents under it and things like that. But I don't think I went too over the top. But you can let me know what you do if you celebrate this holiday. What are your traditions? What are you doing today or tomorrow? Do you have anything exciting going on? I know a lot of people really enjoy this time of year. And also, if you are struggling this time of year, I am so sorry, and I understand completely. I recently posted on Twitter about why this time of year is really difficult for me. So if you're interested in checking that out, go ahead. I'm not going to talk about it here because I don't want to I guess I don't want it to be triggering to anyone that deals with some things this time of year. But anyway, moving on into this dining room space, I have a fireplace in both the dining room and the living room. I use this one from Cottage Living, and I raised up a wreath onto the fireplace, which I think looks really nice. And then the one in the living room, I'm using the same fireplace, but I really like that one because the top of it is really thin. So if you actually place a wall-mounted TV, it goes through the fireplace, and it looks like it's actually mounted on the fireplace without having to delete the walls or use tool or anything. It just looks like that automatically, and I really like that about that. Anyway, that's pretty much that room done, and we're moving on into the entryway. Here is another one of those curtains I had mentioned. I really just like how these look throughout the home. It brightens everything up and makes it look really cohesive. And I got one of these corner benches from Cats and Dogs as well, and just getting some decorations up there. We just get some presents, and then I hang a mirror up on the wall as well, and that's pretty much it for over here. Also, I have like temperature controls on the wall, and we end up having a rug in here. The entryway is not super complicated. I do add some stuff towards the end of the build because in a little while I'm going to be deciding there's a cat in this house because I add a really big cat tree in the living room. But then it took me until a lot later in the build to add anything else for the cat, like a bed or food bowls or a litter box. So you'll be seeing that. But for right now, there's just like a bookcase and a couple of decorations. But this is going to be the living room. We have another wreath in here, and there is the TV snapping through the fireplace like I had mentioned. I think it looks so nice like that. I'm also moving some of the windows around to better accommodate those curtains so they're not clipping through the walls. And I used this rug from Dream Home Decorator, which I think is absolutely gorgeous, between these two couches. I really just wanted big, comfy, like family home couches, and these ones are exactly that. I've always thought these were super versatile and common. Like they're a couch I've seen a lot. Oh, I also added the garland in here, which is not one I use very often. And we got a big Christmas tree over in the corner. And I think it looks really cute. I really like the Christmas tree from Seasons. There's two of them. This one, which is pre-decorated, and then there's one that your Sims can actually decorate on their own. And you can pick like which decorations to hang on it, which is really cool. But it's kind of nice in building to use the one that's already decorated, or if you just don't want to decorate the tree. Although I think that is a really cool addition. I was very excited about that when Seasons came out. But I just finished decorating the mantle. We have some Christmas cards, some garland, a little nutcracker. And then I have this tray of like tea and stuff on the coffee table. Then I also grabbed a bookcase, and there's going to be a toy box over here. I was imagining the kids were not kids anymore. I was kind of thinking they were teenagers or maybe young adults that are off in college and they come home for the holidays. But I imagine like their rooms are still decorated as if they were teenagers, because like you're probably not redecorating your home, like your school. Oh, I cannot word right now. I'm in such an holiday spirit right now, in holiday mode, that like my brain isn't working. They don't redecorate their room at home while they're away at school. That is what I was trying to say. Anyway, this is the downstairs bathroom I had mentioned. It's just got a stand-up shower because I wanted to make sure there was more than one shower in this apartment. This is not an apartment. In this house. So there's a shower here, and then upstairs there ends up being a shower tub combo as well. So plenty of spaces for your Sims to go ahead and get ready, and they're all pretty similar with the like fixtures and stuff that I have in them. I used this stone floor from Journey to Batu. I know that pack doesn't get the most love, but I think the tiles in it and a couple of other items are really cool. So anyway, these are some more presents that I'm just adding under the tree because I didn't add any yet. And there's a cat bed, and there's already a litter box, but we're moving on to the garage space, trying to fill this up with all sorts of stuff. I like to use these base game countertops in garages as like a built-in area with a sink. We have a woodworking bench, some Christmas decorations, a bike, and I get like laundry in here and just some fun junk, like some older things and some tools. Oh, and I found those, the fireplace tools. I forgot we got those in a recent update. So when I came across them while I was working on the garage, I had to go throw those by the fireplace. I just think that's really nice. I also added the pumpkin carving station in here. It just felt like it was something that would make sense to just be in the garage and a lot of fun to play with when it comes to that time of year for your Sims to carve pumpkins. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense in a holiday house, but I wanted this house to be useful year round. So that was the idea there, but we're in the primary bedroom now. I decided to go for this red bed. Something about it just felt so nice. I guess it kind of reminds me of sleigh beds, which I don't really like, but for some reason I really liked this one, which isn't a sleigh bed. It just kind of reminds me because of the curves, and I liked the red on it, and it's just not one I use very often, and I feel like it worked nicely with the wood flooring that we have in this space. Just getting a dresser, a little place to sit over here, and lots of curtains around. And just trying to make the space a little bit more full. I always struggle with rooms that have so many walls like this to try and figure out where to put things, how to make it look full but not too overcrowded and not have too many empty walls, but I think I figured it out in the end. I think it's an okay room. Let me know what you think of it. I also had added a TV in here so the parents could go ahead and enjoy some television in their room. I think that's pretty realistic to like most people nowadays. I know I personally like to have the TV on at night just for the noise and the like light of it. It helps me fall asleep. I know a lot of people are like that. Let me know if you're like that. And then I'm figuring out some wallpapers and stuff for the teenagers' rooms. This one does stay pink. The other one doesn't stay that like greenish color. I had a lot of fun with the kids' rooms though, because I was thinking, like I said, they were really done to their personalities as teenagers. Maybe one of them still is a teenager and lives at home and the other one's off to college, but I wanted them to really like look that way. I don't think they would have been updated. I think that's a really cool idea to come home from college and see your room the way it was when you were in high school. I never had that experience, but like I think that would be cool. Well, maybe not. In The Sims, I think it would be cool. That's what I was thinking, is coming back and being like, oh, I hung up these posters when I was a sophomore or what have you, and now I'm a sophomore in college. And maybe your room at home doesn't reflect your personality as much as your room at school does. That was the idea here anyway. And this one's a lot more like into hanging out with friends and maybe a little bit of music. So they end up having some music posters around their room. I think they're just really into being social and enjoying their time in college. Whereas the other kid, when I get to their room, you'll see I was more into the idea of maybe they were kind of sporty, but they also really liked bright colors. So their room ends up being super bright blue, which I really enjoyed. It's very much not the style of the rest of the house, but I think it's rather realistic to some kids or teens' rooms you might see. I know I really had a lot of bright colors in my room growing up. I didn't have painted walls, but yeah, they were just plain white. I wasn't allowed to paint the walls, but I would have lots of very bright things in my room. It was like rainbow and cheetah print. If you haven't seen somewhere on my channel, maybe I can remember to link it down below. At one point, I built my childhood dream bedroom. So not what I want now, but what I wanted when I was a child, if I could have had any bedroom ever. And it's a lot. It's a lot of cheetah print and rainbows. So if I remember, I will link that down below. But anyway, this is that other room that I had mentioned. We have like some sports stuff in here. We have a nice built-in desk and getting some more posters. And it's very blue and white in here. I thought it was a bit of a fun color scheme. It's not one I use very often. It's more of like a teal blue. And I thought it was really pretty. Let me know which bedroom you like more, and if you like this build, what other things you would like to see, and what you're doing for the holidays if you celebrate. Otherwise, any plans for New Year's? I can't believe it's almost 2022. Wow. Anyway, this is pretty much it for the build. We're just finishing up the backyard, and then we'll be heading on into screenshots. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Thank you so very much for watching. Happy holidays, and I will see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.